Have you ever truly stopped, not just paused, but stilled your soul, and asked yourself, what will become of me? Not in a passing moment of worry, but in the silence that comes when you finally get honest, when the noise fades, when the mask falls, when it's just you and time. What will life look like when your body no longer obeys you the way it once did? When your days are no longer filled with the urgency of children's voices or the rhythm of a 9 to 5? What will remain when youth has left the room? Most people won't ask these questions, not because they're strong, but because they're terrified. Terrified to face the truth, that time is moving forward with or without our permission. That aging is not a tragedy, but being unprepared for it is. We live as if we're invincible, until life shows us otherwise. A phone call, a diagnosis, a silent dinner where no one shows up anymore, a body that doesn't heal like it used to. A dream we kept delaying that now feels out of reach. And in that moment, what will you have built? A life of depth, of meaning, of strength and self-respect? Or a fragile existence dependent on luck, others, and hope that things will just work out? The truth is simple, my friend. Life does not wait. It does not ask if you're ready. It arrives anyway. But that is not a reason to despair. It is a reason to awaken. Because you are not powerless. You still have time. You still have choice. And you still have fire in your bones. This is not a message to scare you. It's a hand on your shoulder. A deep breath in your chest. A sacred reminder. There is still time to become who you were meant to be. The Stoics knew this truth well. They sat with mortality, not to fear it, but to sharpen their purpose. They embraced hardship, not to suffer, but to grow. They understood. Peace is not found in comfort. It is found in preparation, in discipline, in clarity, in courage. Right now, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to regret, ignoring the signs, numbing the fears, and hoping things just work out. The other leads to power, embracing truth, preparing wisely, and building a future that does not crumble with age, but deepens with it. So I ask again, what will become of you? You don't need all the answers right now, but you do need to care enough to ask the question, and you do need to care enough to act before it's too late. This chapter, this moment, isn't just information, it's transformation. It's your opportunity to face life with open eyes and steady hands, to say, I see what's coming, and I am not afraid, because I will be ready. So breathe, sit with me. Let's go deeper, not into fear, but into freedom, not into fantasy, but into truth. And truth, when you're brave enough to face it, will always set you free. Health, the foundation of freedom. Before we speak of money, of legacy, of plans for the future, we must first speak of the vessel that will carry you into all of it, your body. Your body is not a machine to be pushed endlessly until it breaks. It is not a prison to resent. It is not an ornament to impress others. It is the instrument of your freedom. And if it fails, everything else will follow. No amount of money, no level of wisdom, no deep spiritual awakening will matter if you lose the strength to walk upstairs, the breath to laugh without pain, or the clarity to remember the names of those you love. You cannot borrow health. You cannot fake it. And once it's gone, it is a slow, cruel, and expensive road to try and regain it. So while the world distracts you with convenience, comfort, and comfort food, choose discipline over decay. Walk, even when you're tired. Stretch, even when you're stiff. Sweat, even when the couch calls louder. Eat for energy, not just for escape. The Stoics would remind us, what injures the hive, injures the bee. And the hive, in this case, is your future self. Every choice you make today is a vote, a silent whisper to your future body. I either cared for you, or I betrayed you. This is not about becoming an athlete. It's about staying independent. It's about keeping your dignity when others your age are giving theirs up. It's about being able to get out of bed without help. to carry your groceries, to chase after your grandchild, to go where you want without asking permission from your bones. You will not always feel like moving, but you must move anyway. You will not always feel like cooking something healthy, but you must nourish yourself anyway, because what you don't do today becomes your burden tomorrow. You are not a victim of aging. You are the architect of how gracefully or how painfully you move through it. So let this be your vow, not to have a perfect body, but to have a capable one, a free one, a resilient one that carries your mind, your soul, your mission, all the way to the end. Financial independence, the shield of dignity. Let's speak plainly. There is no peace in life if money controls your every move. There is no freedom if your dignity depends on the mercy of others. And there is no self-respect in living at the edge of survival, waiting for the next crisis to break you. Money is not the goal, but independence is. And money, whether we like it or not, is the armor that guards your independence as you grow older. You may tell yourself now, I'm fine, things work out. But the truth is this: if you are not building something solid, you are standing on sand. And time has a way of showing us how unstable the ground beneath us really was, usually when it's too late. The Stoics taught us not to crave luxury, but to build resilience. Not to depend on wealth, but to create freedom from fear. To live simply, yes, but also wisely. And wisdom means preparing for the winters of life while the sun is still shining. Financial independence is not about becoming rich. It's about never needing to beg. It's about being able to say no when something violates your values. It's about having choices when others are trapped in silent desperation. It's about protecting your future self from shame, helplessness, and quiet dependence. So start small, but start now. Save like your future depends on it, because it does. Cut the habits that drain your money, your time, your soul. Spend with intention, not impulse. Invest in what grows, not what fades. Create multiple streams, not for greed, but for safety. There is no nobility in suffering from preventable poverty. There is no spiritual virtue in being unprepared. There is only pain and regret and quiet fear you won't admit. You cannot build a strong life on weak finances. You cannot think clearly when debt is breathing down your neck, and you cannot serve others when you're constantly trying to survive. So take this seriously, not in panic, not in shame, but in power. Your future deserves the kind of strength that money, when respected, can provide. And let that money never own you. But instead, let it serve you. Let it build your freedom, not your chains. Because one day, when the bills are high, your energy is low, and the world seems too fast for you, you'll either be grateful you prepared or devastated that you didn't. Choose gratitude. Choose freedom. Choose now. Relationships. The people who will hold you when the world doesn't. You may believe strength is standing alone, that needing no one is power, that silence and solitude are signs of maturity. But let me tell you something few will say out loud. Even the strongest crumble without connection. Even the wisest need someone to hold their hand when the storm hits. And even the most disciplined soul suffers in a room filled with emptiness. You can have money. You can have health. You can have peace within your mind. But if you walk through your older years with no one by your side, the silence will speak louder than anything you've built. Stoicism does not teach emotional detachment. It teaches emotional discipline so that you can show up for others with presence, patience, and truth. It teaches you not to cling out of fear, but to love out of strength. So let me ask you, who will sit beside you when your hands begin to tremble? Who will call to check on you when the world forgets? Who will know your favorite stories, your worst regrets, your proudest moments, when your voice grows quieter? If you can't answer that, then this is your moment to act, not out of panic, but out of wisdom. Start building those bridges now, not with everyone, just with the few who matter. The few who will stand by your hospital bed, not just your wedding dance. The few who know how to listen without fixing, to sit with your silence without filling it with noise. Reach out, even when it's uncomfortable. Forgive, even if it still hurts a little. Nurture your friendships like they're seeds. Water them. Give them sun. Because they don't grow by chance, they grow by care. Loneliness is not just emotional. It becomes physical. It affects your health, your memory, your will to live. And one day, you may wake up in a house filled with furniture, but no laughter. A bank account filled with money, but no one to share it with. Don't let that be your ending. Be there for people now. And when the time comes, they'll be there for you. This is not about needing others to complete you. It's about allowing others to witness you and giving yourself the honor of doing the same for them. Because at the end of your life, it won't be your bank balance. It won't be your muscles. It won't be your achievements that echo in the air. It will be the voices of those you loved saying, "I'm here, I remember, and I'm grateful you existed." And that, my friend, is a legacy no amount of gold can buy. Not just as food, but as a decision, a ritual, a silent promise to your future self. Because every time you eat, you're not just feeding hunger. You're shaping your brain. You're fueling or draining your energy. You're protecting or damaging your organs. You're either preparing for strength or for suffering. We've been trained to see food as comfort, a reward, a distraction, a celebration, a coping mechanism. But the Stoics would have asked, is what you consume helping you live a more virtuous, capable, and grounded life? Or is it enslaving you to short-term pleasure and long-term decay? You don't have to be a nutritionist to feel the truth. You already know what nourishes you and what numbs you. You already feel the difference between eating to thrive and eating to escape. So what if, starting now, you began to eat like someone who deserves to live a long, clear, mobile, and powerful life? Because you do. And food, more than almost anything else, determines the quality of that life. When you feel foggy, sluggish, irritated, and inflamed, it is rarely life. It is often your own hand, feeding you what your body was never built to carry. And the scariest part? You won't always feel the damage immediately, but over time, it compounds. It shows up as fatigue, as disease, as brain fog, as depression, as pain. Your mind may be willing, but if your body is exhausted, your will can't carry you far. This is why nutrition is not about vanity. It's about duty. Your body is not your enemy. It's your ally. But you must treat it like a sacred partner, not a dumping ground for modern indulgence. The Stoic path calls for simplicity, discipline, and care. Not obsession, not restriction, but intentionality. Eat what gives you life, not just what steals your attention. Drink water like it's sacred. Prepare meals with mindfulness. Treat sugar, alcohol, and processed poisons like you would toxic relationships. Limited, cautious, and with boundaries. You wouldn't hand poison to a loved one, so why feed it to your own future? There is no shame in starting late, but there is tragedy in never starting at all. Let your meals become your medicine. Let your nourishment become a silent declaration. I respect myself enough to feed my future with care. Because when the years go by and others are on pills, in pain, or on walking aids, you'll walk taller, think clearer, live freer. Not because you were lucky, but because you chose, again and again, to honor your body like it mattered. And it does. Because you do. Movement is medicine. Choose motion before it's taken from you. Because stillness today becomes stiffness tomorrow. Your body is a sacred gift, not because of how it looks, but because of what it allows you to do, to walk, to reach, to lift, to stand, to breathe deep without effort, to exist in this world unassisted. But here is a truth that hits hard. If you stop moving one day, you won't be able to move at all, not because of age, but because of neglect. Movement is not something you do when you have free time. It is not a luxury. It is not optional. It is survival. You lose what you don't use: muscle, mobility, balance, flexibility, and yes, your independence. You don't notice it at first. It creeps in slowly. The joint stiffness, the shallow breath, the chronic fatigue, the quiet pain you keep ignoring. And then one day, what was once simple, getting up from a chair, walking to the store, carrying your own bags, becomes a challenge you weren't ready for. The Stoics warned against this. They believed the body should be trained, not for beauty, but for function, to remain capable, to remain free, to remain ready for life, no matter what it brings. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." And this includes strength. This includes stamina. This includes freedom from the slow prison of physical decline. So ask yourself, the Stoics warned against this. When did you stop caring for your body? When did you start treating stillness like safety? When did the couch become more familiar than the floor beneath your feet? And more importantly, are you willing to take it back? One step at a time? You don't need to be an athlete. You just need to move. Daily, deliberately, respectfully. Stretch like your joints matter, because they do. Walk like your legs are a blessing, not a burden. Lift things, your arms, your spirits, your will. Breathe deep. Fill your lungs. Wake your cells. This is not punishment. It's praise. It's the highest form of gratitude. To use what you've been given before life takes it away. Because if you don't move today, your body will remember. And one day, when you finally want to, it will say, "You're too late." Let movement become your ritual. Let your body feel like it's alive, not just surviving. Let motion become medicine. Let motion become a declaration of your will to live fully, deeply, and freely. Because once you lose the ability to move, you lose more than your body. You lose your freedom, your power, your choices. And if you're still blessed with the ability to move now, don't waste it. Facing mortality, train for the end before it arrives, because death is not the enemy, denial is. Sit with this, not as a threat, not as fear, but as truth. You are going to die. Not someday in the distant future, not as a metaphor, not as a philosophical idea, but in reality. Your heart will stop, your breath will fade, your name will be spoken less and less, until one day it won't be spoken at all. And yet, most people live as if that moment will never come. They waste time like it's infinite. They avoid hard conversations. They delay healing. They scroll through life, waiting for a better time to truly begin it. The Stoics were not afraid to speak of death. In fact, they meditated on it. Memento mori, remember you must die. Not to fall into depression, but to rise into urgency. To stop sleepwalking through a life that ends far sooner than we expect. Because here's the paradox. Only those who face death honestly truly learn how to live.